All right. It's Friday night, and here I am on a nice cold evening here in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Uh, it's supposed to get down to single digits tonight, so it's going to be fun when I go to work tomorrow. But in case any subscribers or people who stumble across my channel, I just want to give a quick update as far as where everything's going. I just recently posted a podcast episode a little bit ago. It was commemoration of a milestone where it was my 60th podcast episode, and also it was my 300th video altogether that I've uploaded since I relaunched my YouTube channel last year. Some who might have come in contact with me in the past might remember back around 2011 to 2013, I had some crazy stuff on my YouTube channel back then. And some of it was just way over the top. I'd be talking about politics, I'd be talking about strange things that I came in contact with, sometimes military stuff. And one of the lessons learned from that experience was you have to be careful what you brand your or title your YouTube channel. And in my case, the name I gave the channel back then was problematic, but I didn't know it at the time because, like a lot of content creators, I was just getting started, trying to, feel my way through to a target audience and to get a message out there. So, I titled it Unhinged. Yeah. And I even included that on my LinkedIn profile for a number of years. And then, you know, some close family members, including my dad, suggested that I not include that on any professional uh, job sites or uh, professional networks because just the name alone gives a bad connotation. Unless you're a comedian or an entertainer who's known for being over the top, such a title can cause problems because you inadvertently brand yourself as a provocateur, uh, somebody whose behavior can be erratic or unstable, unpredictable, and and titles like that make people think, well, you're all about getting clicks and views. Hey, everybody wants to have clicks and views. They want their content to find an audience, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what's more important? Is it the message or the clicks and views? I reflected upon a rather disgusting episode. Not that the episode itself was disgusting, but the product in question that I discovered was disgusting, and that was a book that I guess is still available on Amazon about cooking with human bodily fluids. I'll just leave it there. And just the talking about it with the webcam on, anyone who saw the video at that time would have visibly noticed that I was very much grossed out. And I think any normal human being would be grossed out by something like that. Now, as far as the networking with other abuse survivors, it's a continuing learning process because not everyone who's been through a spiritually abusive situation is going to follow the same path of healing. Some people are able to dissect the good from the bad. I'm one of those who has tried to do that, and for the most part, I've been successful. The saying goes about not tossing the baby out with the bathwater, but not everybody heals the same way. Some people are going to go scorched earth. They, they want to completely distance themselves as much as possible from any kind of environment that might even be remotely considered religious or high performance religion. That being said, when I read some of the questions and comments on other survivors' profiles, some people just don't know when to stop asking certain questions. And I'm going to speak this on defense in defense of Jubilee Dawn. Jubilee Dawn has a very extensive reach to other survivor networks, and she and her husband have a good channel going. And when the questions come up, the most common question that keeps being tossed her way is about what her current beliefs are, and she has stated repeatedly to that she does not want to put those beliefs out there in the public square. And in reading that, I can't help but think that these people are nothing but a bunch of trolls. They're just trying to dig around and try to cause more hurt than what is necessary. I mean, anyone who's ever been through holiness culture, purity culture, modesty culture, it's that the experience is painful enough as it is. And then to have people outside of that circle wanting to keep trying to dig around and ask questions that have been answered repeatedly. Why don't you go back and read some of her other responses, for crying out loud? She's made it very clear that she doesn't wish to discuss her beliefs in public. And as a fellow survivor, I completely support and respect that. And I wish other people would do the same. You know, just like, what about one's politics or one's, even lesser things like one's preferences in food or music? That's, there's a time and a place for this. And I wish that some of those questions would be more pertinent on the subject matter at hand. Just like a week or so ago, I had to block somebody because it started off, the question was brought up about opening my content up for comments. Now, the live streams are about the only thing I'm going to leave open for comments because, I'm here, and if anybody wishes to chat and make a comment and constructive criticism, perhaps, they're free to do that. Whether I'm on here or after I'm signed off. But when the conversation deteriorates to, well, your channel's never going to grow if you don't open it up for comments. I refuse to open my content up for comments for one simple reason. I want the focus to be on the content and not the comments section. And unfortunately, in a lot of cases, the content creators are constantly fighting against trolls, sniping, and needless debate over stuff, and it detracts from the actual content that's on there. And not every successful YouTube channel has their comment section open. The German metal band Rammstein, of which I'm a fan, has never opened their comment section up for any of their music videos. And it's because they want their content to speak for them and not the comment section, which is perfectly fine because I enjoy listening to their music. I don't feel like I need to be scrolling down the comments section. Now, not every artist feels that way, but the comment section alone is not indicative of a channel's success. And hello, thank you. Let me see who's checking in here. I have a viewer. Let's see. I'm still learning how to do this, so bear with me here, folks. Okay, what did I just do? Okay. All right. Okay, well, I'll say hi to you. And this is still a learning curve for me, so bear with me here. I've also had some interesting things going on at home. My son is visiting with me for right now. Actually, he's staying with me till he gets himself back on his feet, and that makes it a little more personal because he's been through a toxic environment, and from not just as a father to a son, but also one survivor to another. Maybe the circumstances and the environments were a little different, but it definitely, it forms a bond and a connection there because people who have survived some crap, they see things and they can instantly relate to what's going on. And you know, just like when I talk to other survivors in these other spiritual abuse forums, even if we came from different theological backgrounds, we're speaking the same language because there are just certain patterns of behavior that go across, all denominations, all ministry boundaries, and therefore, it's almost like when we sit there talking, we're comparing notes. Now, as far as here in Bartlesville and much of Oklahoma and Kansas, we're going to be underneath some really brutal weather the next few days. Brr. Getting in the single digits tonight. It's only supposed to be in the teens tomorrow, followed by uh, lows below zero. It's that time of year, and winter's finally upon us, and it's just going to be bitter cold and brutal. That's only going to be for the next few days. Then it'll start, leveling off, get a little warmer up into the 30s, maybe in the low 40s later in the week. Let's see what else. What else is going on? Well, I guess the one person who was viewing, he has since logged off. Well, look forward to having you come back. I'll be on here for a few more minutes. Let's see. Uh, Recently had a discussion with some fellow veterans, and we talked about what was happening with the ICE protesters in Minneapolis and with the ICE agents. I personally am not going to get into the politics of it because there's just too much to unpack on there, and it's too polarizing a subject. All I'm going to say is that the best thing I can say to anybody is rather than listening to all the noise from people on the far right or on the far left, just take some time out and do your own research. Don't just take what a picture's been posted on a news site. Look a little bit more into the background of it. Is what you're seeing in that initial news clip all that's going on, or is there more to the story? And if you look at it with your own eyes, as opposed to you know, base your opinion on what other people are telling you, you might get a different perspective. After seeing the video clips, my conclusion was that both the suspect who was unfortunately shot and killed by the ICE agent, as well as the ICE agents themselves, were in the wrong. You speed your car, you hit an agent, the agent is going to defend himself. But the agents don't get off the hook because they prevented a doctor from going to the scene and rendering aid. That is just as wrong. And it begs to question, at what point do we start having congressional oversight over Homeland Security and, in particular, the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement? That's one of the reasons why we have Congress. For those who remember civics and remember how the three branches of government are supposed to work, they're supposed to be the three coexistent, co-equal branches, and part of the role of Congress is to provide checks and balances to make sure that what the president is doing is on the up and up with the Constitution. The president can't make law. Congress makes law. The courts don't make law. That's in the legislative branch. And the legislative branch also uh, is the oversight to make sure that what's being done is in accordance with the Constitution. And if there are legal or constitutional issues, those go before the courts. That's why you have your federal courts, your appeals courts, and ultimately the Supreme Court. Okay, there we go. I've just given a quick civics lesson for those who probably need it. You're not going to find me wasting my time, answering to all the rage bait and clickbait questions. I got more important things to do with my time. Okay. Now, I've also had the opportunity to not just look at what's going on YouTube, but also do a quick look at how some of my video content has fared on other social media platforms I have. And the what that surprised me, I took a look on Facebook and there were two AI generated videos I made. They were fan made videos of the professional. One was of the professional wrestlers Andre the Giant and Paul White, also known as the Big Show, against uh, a rendition of the 19th century giant Mills Darden. That one on Facebook garnered over 14,000 views. I was surprised. I didn't think it drew that many. And probably my second most viewed reel on Facebook was another professional wrestling fan made video, and that was of Mark Henry versus Mills Darden. That one had like close to 1,500 views. So you just never know what's going to draw people's attention and what isn't. Most of those AI videos I do as a hobby. I'm still tinkering and learning how AI works as far as making video content. It's entertaining, and sometimes you just never know what's going to be popular. Sometimes I might have one posted and it looks real nice, but then I'm about the only one who's really appreciating it. And then something that may not necessarily be my best work, in my opinion, is what draws a lot of hits. So it's unpredictable, just like the algorithm is unpredictable. What might be viral 1 minute, or what you might think is should be going viral, won't, and what you don't think is going to be viral surprises everybody. So there you go, and it's a continuing challenge. Uh, I also, before going on my live stream, had the opportunity to do one of those surveys that YouTube had as far as content creators and a source of income. I don't really do this as a source of income. This is more of a hobby for me. You know, Now maybe one day, enough, more subscribers and more views will come. And if they do, then I might be able to pursue this on a regular basis. But for now, it's a hobby. It's a labor of love, so to speak. I what I do on my job and with my other sources of income is what helps afford me the ability to have a place to stay and keep the lights on so I can do the content that I enjoy sharing with everybody. All right. Well, it's getting late here. It's almost 11:30 here in Bartlesville. I'm about to go offline. So for those who have jumped on during the live stream, thank you. And for those who catch me later, I'll look forward to hearing from you, and I'll catch you next week. Have a good night.